Caitlin Clark, the face of women's basketball, the WNBA's ticket to mainstream relevancy, is out. Not just out for the season, not just nursing an injury. She's leaving, and not for rehab, not for rest. For Europe, let that sink in. The one player who carried the WNBA on her back, while getting elbowed, shoved, and hammered on every possession, is packing her bags and heading overseas. And with that announcement, if you're here for the real story and not the filtered version, subscribe. And if you're sticking around for the next meltdown, you better definitely subscribe. The league's foundation didn't just crack. It crumbled. Let's call this what it is, a full-blown crisis. Because Caitlin Clark's departure isn't just a transfer. It's a statement. It's a mic drop. And it's saying one very clear thing. I'm not protected here. I'm not respected here. So I'm done. And honestly, can you blame her? From the moment she was drafted, Caitlin was treated like a lottery ticket. Not a player, not a person, an investment. The WNBA wanted the buzz, the headlines, the sold-out games. And they got it. They got all of it. But the price? It came due fast. Week after week, game after game, she was getting hit like a tackling dummy. The refs swallowed their whistles. The lead played dumb. And everyone kept asking the same question. When is someone going to step in? Spoiler alert, no one did. Instead, Clark was expected to take it, smile through it, be the good soldier. Because behind the scenes, the numbers were too good to mess with. Ratings were up, merch was flying. And as long as she stayed on the floor, bruised, battered, and exhausted, everything was working. But then the injuries started piling up. First a knock here, then a tweak there, then something worse. And still, the league did nothing. No changes to officiating. No public statements. No protection. Until finally it was too late. And now, she's headed to Europe, where, ironically, the systems in place for player health, recovery, and, get this, officiating standards are better than what she just left behind. Europe, of all places, understood the assignment. Let's just pause and appreciate the absurdity here. The WNBA had everything they ever asked for. Caitlin Clark was a golden goose, the walking highlight reel, the player who brought fans in by the millions. And they fumbled it. Hard. You want to know how badly they blew this? Look at the fans. The very people who used to shout the league's praises are now protesting outside arenas, canceling subscriptions, burning jerseys. Not in a cute, dramatic way, in a genuinely furious way. Because it's not just about Clark leaving. It's about why she left. It's about the tackles that weren't called, the sneaky shots to the ribs, the way every foul against her became a controversy instead of just a foul. It's about watching your favorite player get picked apart game after game while the league shrugs like, well, it's physical basketball. No, it's bad officiating. It's a systemic failure. And Caitlin Clark just made the strongest statement possible by doing the one thing the league thought she never would, walk away. Now, let's talk about the Europe angle for a second. Some people are already trying to spin it. Oh, it's just temporary. She'll be back in 2026. This is good for her development. Please, this isn't some off-season vacation. This is escape. This is an all caps, I'm out, from someone who clearly had options and chose the one that didn't involve being hacked in front of a sold-out crowd while the refs stare into the void. And let's be real, Europe will treat her better. The training is rigorous but smarter. The pace is competitive but strategic. The crowds may be smaller, but the respect? It's there. She'll get the minutes she wants, the safety she needs, and the chance to heal. Physically, mentally, emotionally, heal from the absolute circus that the WNBA turned into. Meanwhile, back in the States, panic mode. Executives are sweating. Broadcasters are rewriting scripts. Sponsors are backpedaling so fast they're practically doing the moonwalk. Because without Clark, what does the WNBA have? Not a lot. At least not in the way they sold it. And that's the most devastating part. They had other stars. They still do, but they never built them up, never gave them the spotlight. They were too busy riding the Clark wave. And now that the tide's out, they're stuck in the sand, wondering what happened. You want a metaphor? The WNBA treated Caitlin Clark like an iPhone launch. All flash, all marketing, all hype, but underneath, the infrastructure was cracked. And now it's glitching. Bad. There's no backup plan. No face of the league. No redemption arc teed up. Just a bunch of angry fans, frustrated players, and a very expensive reminder that star power only works when you protect a star. This is where we hand out a fake award. Most avoidable meltdown in professional sports goes to the WNBA for watching a once-in-a-generation player walk away on purpose and acting shocked when the fans walked with her. And let's be clear, Clark didn't leave because she's weak. She left because she's smart. She left because she saw the writing on the wall, and it said, they don't care enough to fix this. So now the league has a choice. They can scramble for a patch job, try to promote someone else, rework the marketing, spin this as exciting international experience. Or they can face the truth. The system is broken. The officiating is inconsistent. The league's priorities are skewed. And unless those things change, this won't be the last departure. The star of the show is lighting it up somewhere else, across the ocean, with better officiating, better facilities, better protection. And here's the kicker, more respect. Clark choosing to leave the WNBA for Europe is a bigger middle finger to the league than any angry tweet or post-game soundbite ever could be. It's not just about money. It's not just about safety. It's about principle. She gave the WNBA everything. Her name, her body, her buzz. She took its literal and figurative, so the league could have a moment. And instead of protecting her, they exploited her. So now, she's saying the quiet part out loud. Not with a rant, not with a press conference, but with her feet. By walking, by leaving. And it's not just an exit, it's a verdict. Guilty of neglect, of incompetence, of arrogance. What's wild is how the league is still in denial, like someone walking through a burning building saying, it's just a little warm. They're out here posting inspirational Instagram reels and game day graphics like nothing's changed when everything has. You lost your draw, your story, your revenue driver. And the only real question is, what did you learn? Because the answer is nothing. Buckle up. The WNBA isn't just at risk of losing fans. It's at risk of losing relevance. Let's talk about trust for a second, because that's what this whole thing hinges on. Fans don't just follow players because of stats. They follow because they believe. They believe the system will protect their favorite. That greatness will be rewarded. That heart, hustle, and highlights will be met with support and safety. But Clark's story broke that illusion. Fans watched her get battered. They watched refs ignore it. They watched the league go radio silent. And then they watched her walk away. So now the narrative has shifted. It's no longer the league is finally having its moment. It's the league blew it. And it's not just Clark's fans feeling this. It's everyone. The casuals, the diehards, the players, the brands. Let's not forget the brands. Sponsorships were flowing like champagne during Clark Mania. Suddenly, the WNBA had front row buzz, crossover attention, Super Bowl level ad buys. But now, the calls are getting quieter. The emails are more circle back next fiscal quarter. Because no brand wants to be caught propping up a league that can't protect its stars. It's the same with broadcasters. You think networks are thrilled about airing a league without its main attraction? Please. They were sold on Caitlin. They scheduled around Caitlin. Now they're stuck showing matchups with half the viewership and none of the narrative glue. And if you think the broadcasters aren't panicking in quiet conference rooms, trying to renegotiate contract terms, you haven't been paying attention. Here's the part that really hits home, though. Clark wanted to make it work here. She didn't come into the WNBA with an ego. She played hard. She answered the media. She embraced the league. She wasn't one of those I'm bigger than the game personalities. And still, she was let down. That's what stings. This wasn't someone with diva demands or outrageous expectations. She just wanted to play safely, fairly, competitively. And she couldn't even get that. So now, she's in a league that values her in a way the WNBA only pretended to. And the worst part? The spin is already starting. Oh, it's not a permanent departure. She'll be back. This is just part of global basketball culture. She's growing the game internationally. Spare us. This isn't a victory lap. It's an escape. And everyone pretending otherwise is doing PR gymnastics so intense. They should win a gold medal in Olympic delusion. Let's do another fake award, because honestly, this script deserves it. Most impressive gaslight attempt by a professional league goes to, drumroll, the WNBA, for acting like their biggest star leaving the country in the middle of financial and trust crisis is somehow fine. Bravo. Take a bow. And maybe take notes, because if this is your damage control plan, you're going to need a bigger mop. Now, let's talk ripple effects. Clark leaving doesn't just damage the WNBA. It puts every women's sports league on alert. Because this isn't happening in a vacuum. This is a warning shot. If the league that's been in the spotlight on the rise, with the most media attention, still can't protect its stars, what does that say to athletes in less visible leagues? The message is clear. You are on your own. And let me tell you, players are listening. The next big college star, she's taking notes. The next draft class, they're having serious talks with their agents about overseas options before they even shake hands with a GM. And veterans who've been grinding in the league for years, they're wondering if they should have dipped a long time ago. Because if this can happen to Caitlin Clark, who's safe? Nobody. And yet, in the middle of all this chaos, there's something kind of poetic about how Clark exited. She didn't throw chairs. She didn't curse out the refs. She didn't flame the league on social media. She just made a move. Strategic, calculated, clear, and somehow that made it hit harder. It was power in its quietest form. And now that silence, it's louder than any dunk, buzzer beater, or post-game interview. Because it says, I don't need this league to thrive, but this league needs me to survive. Phew, let's take a breath. Where does the WNBA go from here? The real answer? It depends. Because this could be the start of a revolution or the beginning of the end. The league has a window, a very small, rapidly closing window, to step up and take accountability. That means real reform, transparent officiating changes, public commitments to player safety, leadership shakeups if necessary, not just in vague statements, but in visible, tangible action. Fans want receipts now. They don't want PR. They want policy. And if the league can't deliver, well, they've already seen what happens. Players walk, fans walk, and all that hard-earned visibility, gone. So, yeah, Caitlin Clark's gone. For now. But the story's not over. It's just shifted locations. And the real question isn't whether she'll come back. It's whether the WNBA will deserve her when she does. You made it this far? I know this one was brutal, but it's real, and it matters. Because if women's sports are going to grow, it has to start with respecting the athletes, not just hyping them up, not just profiting off their charisma, but actually doing the work to protect them. Because now the floodgates are open. Other players, especially rookies and rising stars, are watching. They're asking the same questions Clark probably asked herself. Do they have my back? Am I safe here? What happens when I'm the one getting hit? And if the answers don't change, the exodus will. Clark's announcement was a shockwave, but the aftershocks, they're going to hit harder. TV deals will get shaky. Sponsors will ask for performance clauses. Attendance will keep sliding. And the league will be left wondering why their golden era lasted exactly one season. But here's the thing. It didn't have to be like this. Clark's departure could have been avoided if the league had stepped up, if the officiating had been fair, if leadership had focused on player safety instead of PR gloss. They had every chance to get it right, and they blew it. Now, the league's in the middle of its oops arc, scrambling to post highlight reels of other players, issuing vague promises about reviewing officiating standards, pretending this isn't the basketball equivalent of your star quarterback transferring to a rival school because he's tired of getting sacked every play. But the fans know. The players know. We know. This isn't just about Caitlin Clark leaving the WNBA. This is about what her leaving represents. A system that's failing the very people it claims to elevate. A league that mistook exposure for infrastructure. A warning shot to every sports organization that thinks star power means they can skip the basics. So yeah, she's gone. For now. But maybe this is the wake-up call the WNBA needed. Maybe this is the push to finally get serious about officiating, about protection, about accountability. Because if they don't, this league's going to keep hemorrhaging trust. And no amount of branding can fix that. So what's your take? Did Caitlin make the right move? Will she ever come back? And is the WNBA even ready for a comeback if she does? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this isn't just a plot twist. It's a whole new chapter. And if you're here for the drama, the fallout, the chaos, go ahead and hit subscribe, because the Caitlin Clark saga just went global. And the WNBA, they're still trying to pick up the pieces. Caitlin Clark, American basketball's golden ticket, has officially hit exit stage left, and the WNBA, they're still backstage scrambling to tape the curtain back up like the show's not already over. But let's not get it twisted. This isn't just a story about one star walking away. This is about the structure she walked away from, a system that smiled in her face and cashed the checks. But when it came time to protect her, crickets. The truth is, this whole situation feels like a breakup. Not the dramatic, tear-filled movie kind. No, this is the slow burn kind. You've been ignoring the red flags for too long, and now she's ghosted you and moved to Italy kind. Clark gave everything she had to this league. Her time, her talent, her image, her body, and in return, she got hacked across the arm every other possession, tossed to the floor like a rag doll, and gaslit by a ref squad that seemed to forget how whistles work whenever she hit the hardwood. And don't come at us with that's just how pro basketball is. Stop. We've seen what physical means. We've seen hard-fought games. This wasn't that. This was targeted, relentless, and completely unchecked. It wasn't tough defense. It was a hit list. But you want to know what really broke fans? The silence. The league had every opportunity to say something, to acknowledge it, to act like they gave a damn. But instead, it was all smiles and promo reels. Look, Caitlin's on another magazine cover. Yeah, cool. Meanwhile, she's limping off the court while y'all tweet about empowerment. Empowerment doesn't mean putting your stars in front of a moving train and saying be strong. It means stepping in front of that train with them. But they didn't. They left her out there, game after game, getting knocked around like a piñata, while the league played damage control, and the refs pretended they left their glasses at home. And now, she's gone, off to Europe, where the officiating is tighter, the physicality is regulated, and, shocker, player safety is taken seriously. Let's be clear. Clark didn't leave because she couldn't hack it. She left because she didn't have to. Why stick around in a league that exploits you, ignores your injuries, and treats your pain as part of the PR package? Why keep sacrificing your body when there are leagues that will pay you well, protect you better, and let you play without being blindsided by a forearm shiver every time you cross half court? She's not weak. She's smart. She knows her worth. And more importantly, she knows the difference between a system that supports you and one that sells you. And the WNBA, they were doing a lot of selling. Caitlin on every billboard. Caitlin in every commercial. Caitlin on the cover of every streaming app preview screen. But when she got thrown to the ground with no call. Oh, officiating is subjective. Sure, so is respect. And she just chose to go where it's not a debate. Now the dominoes start to fall. If the biggest name in the league says, peace out, what do you think that signals to the rest of the roster? To the incoming college stars? To international prospects debating where to build their careers? It says, don't get too comfortable. It says, there's a ceiling here, and it's not just on salary. And while the WNBA's out here trying to plug the leak with motivational tweets and replays of last year's highlights, fans are pulling the receipts. Remember the body checks? The flagrant no calls? The games where Clark was targeted like it was open season? Because we remember. And we're not buying the revisionist history the league is trying to sell now. This whole debacle could have been avoided. At any point, leadership could have stepped in and made an example out of the blatant physical targeting. They could have addressed the officiating. They could have, bare minimum, acknowledge the problem. But they didn't, because they thought Clark would just keep showing up, that she'd keep grinding, keep smiling, keep being their poster girl no matter what they put her through. And that, right there, is the fatal miscalculation. Because you can't build an empire on one person and then act surprised when she gets tired of holding the whole thing up, especially when you're not even reinforcing the structure. You just kept piling weight on her shoulders. So now what? The WNBA's facing a reckoning, a crossroads moment. The script has been ripped up, and there's no new one waiting in the wings. All the pre-drafted Caitlyn's comeback season promos? Useless. All the partnerships that were contingent on her playing? Gone. All the new fans who finally started watching women's basketball? Vanished. Or, at the very least, disillusioned. Because for a lot of them, Clark was the entry point, the spark. And now they're looking around, see what happened to her, and asking, why would I stick around? And here's where the emotional damage comes in, not just for fans, but for the sport. This was supposed to be the era, the turning point. Clark was supposed to be the bridge between the niche and the mainstream, the living proof that women's sports could command ratings, headlines, and sold-out arenas. And she was. But that kind of cultural capital is fragile. Mishandle it once, and the whole thing implodes. Right now, you got fans organizing boycotts, sponsors asking for reassessments, broadcasters quietly adjusting their expectations, players, actual WNBA players, calling out the officiating publicly for the first time in forever. The house isn't just shaking, it's on fire. And the people who were supposed to be holding the hose? They're still posing for press photos. So here's the uncomfortable question. Is this league actually ready for its own success? Because so far, the answer feels like a resounding no. They wanted the ratings without the responsibility. They wanted the star power without the sacrifice. They wanted the buzz without doing the work to build a system that could sustain that buzz. And now that the buzziest star they've ever had has dipped, it's a brutal lesson in what happens when you mistake attention for foundation. Let's hit the fake awards one last time, shall we? Best self-sabotage by a professional sports league goes to, you already know, the WNBA, for turning a once-in-a-generation moment into a cautionary tale about what happens when you chase the bag but ignore the bruises. So what now? That's the question nobody seems ready to answer, because there's no quick fix. No single player who can walk in and replace the force that is Caitlin Clark. No PR campaign that's going to distract people from the fact that she left. What the WNBA does have is an opportunity, a hard one, an ugly one, but still a chance to take accountability, to fix the officiating, to finally prioritize players' safety and long-term sustainability over viral highlights and quick cash, to prove they're not just using their stars, they're building with them. But that only works if they stop pretending everything's fine. Because it's not. The illusion is broken. The fans are watching. And the league is on the clock. Tick, tick, tick. So what's your take? Did Clark make the right call? Can the WNBA actually rebound from this? Or is this the beginning of the long, painful unraveling? Sound off in the comments. Tell me your theory, your rage, your hope. I want to hear everything. And if you want more sports chaos, star walkouts, and PR meltdown sagas like this one, hit that subscribe. Because this isn't just a headline. It's history in the making.